What's going on, boys and girls? This is BBD with BBD TV, the biggest Tennessee Volunteers fan on YouTube. And you're watching the two Irish brothers. Shout out to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Go Vols!
But Waters finds a hole, one man to beat, he's gone. Ricky Waters makes like Tim Brown on his first punt return. There are no penalty flags.
What is up, everybody? I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And I'm ND Sean 45.
And together we make up the Two Irish Brothers show. Welcome in, welcome aboard. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button down below and the subscribe tab if you haven't subscribed to us, and hit the bell icon so you always know when we drop a new video, whether it's a short or an actual full-length video. Moving on, Irv Smith still has his travel package to Ireland going on, so check that out in the link below. It is a nice little travel package for avid golf nuts and Notre Dame fans alike. So, we have some interesting news to talk about, Sean. Some very interesting news.
Oh, yes, we do.
The 2023 schedule that has been dropped this week from none other than our fearless leader, Marcus Freeman.
Yes, let's talk about that. And the big news is Ohio State game. Notre Dame will be wearing the green jerseys. They're not leaving us in surprise this year. They straight up announced it. We're wearing green against the Buckeyes in September. Now, here's the thing, Ben. As much as I am thrilled to know that we're going to be wearing the green jerseys for that game, I got to be honest with you, it still concerns me a little bit because you've heard me talk about this a lot. You know, the stadium, that when a big game comes to town, I'm praying and hoping that stadium will be majority green and not majority red and silver. I have to mention that because until I see otherwise,
we have a recent history. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I agree.
What do you think, Ben? Let's give a very early projection on this. Do you think stadium will be?
I'm so excited because this year is different than most years. This year is we have a couple games before this big game in prime time under the lights, big name opponent coming into town to get ready for this. This is not week one. We're playing Michigan. We're playing Ohio State. We're playing in Alabama. We're not doing any of that this year. This year it's a couple easy teams. No one's easy, but easy teams. And then we got Ohio State. So we can get our feet wet, our legs out from underneath us, and we can get going before it's put up or shut up time.
Right, of course.
I like that the most. And I think this is going to be absolutely amazing and electric because not only do you have this awesome storyline of Marcus Freeman, the ex-Buckeye that's now the Notre Dame head coach in his second season, and the Buckeyes are coming to town, and he's looking to get his revenge because they beat us last year. And on top of that, we got the green jerseys and all that. I mean, it's going to be an electric environment. It's going to be
you're pretty confident about nobody's going to be selling their tickets.
I think this one will be a put up or shut up for fans, and I think a lot of fans are going to show up because we have an excellent quarterback in Sam Hartman. We have a coach that pretty much everybody in the Notre Dame fan base can agree on that they're all in on. There's only a few people here and there compared to what a previous coach was. So I think we will see a lot of green in the stadium.
And that's what I hope to see. I mean, I'm not trying to be a negative guy about this, but it's just we've seen the recent history. A big game comes to town. So many of our fans, they focus more on making money than they do actually supporting the team, but yet they still have the nerve to complain about it if it doesn't go the way they want it to. And it's like what I've always said is it's like, well, if you want the team to win, actually go in the stadium and give them home field advantage. Because we saw that in Georgia in 2017. I mean, the stadium was half freaking red, for crying out loud. I don't want to see that again. That was a disgrace. And I will say that until I see otherwise.
Yep.
So I want to be proven wrong. Not that anybody owes anything to me, but I want to see a full house of green.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no, I agree. I totally agree. And I think that I've said it multiple times. Everybody screams and shouts about how that Notre Dame isn't elite. We don't win the big games every time. We're not like an Alabama and Ohio State, but we aren't like Alabama and Ohio State because those fans don't let their stadium get sold out and overtaken.
Exactly.
Want an elite team, you need to have
And
an
I
elite
mentioned that
team.
too.
So
Amen.
there you go.
So in other Notre Dame news, since we're talking about the green jerseys here, real quick, a few minutes before we sat down to film this video, Notre Dame women's basketball team advanced to the Sweet 16. Big win over Mississippi State.
Yep.
Sweet 16. Yeah, go ladies.
Yeah,
Not really,
I do believe the last time we played Mississippi State was to win the national title. So
yes, it was.
we have a little bit of a history with Mississippi State.
Yeah, so it's kind of a bittersweet victory, not just because of moving on to the Sweet 16, but because of that history, as you just pointed out. And myself personally, I don't really watch a lot of women's basketball. Nothing against the women. To be fair, I haven't even watched really much of the men this year either. So because I haven't had the time. But no, they come from this university. We support them.
Yep.
So
we totally do.
So in some other interesting news that ironically Ryan and I just talked about on this recent edition of the Fighting Irish Power Hour, which, by the way, the name of that show now is going to be called Fight of the Irish Live with Sean and Ryan. Turns out there was another website that has a show that has Power Hour in the title. I think it was Notre Dame Power Hour, if I'm not mistaken. But Ryan and I decided it would be best to change the name of the show just so we don't get people thinking that we're being copycats. That's not the case. But safety recruit Brandon Hillman, he obviously, as you know, Ben, he decommitted from Notre Dame. They let him out of his letter of intent. It was just announced today that he signed with Michigan, of all schools.
Yep.
So
but,
you know my take on it. What's yours?
But it was apparently due to grades.
And, yes, I heard that too.
And the academic standard at Michigan is not what it is at Notre Dame. So I see what's going on. But it hurts. It hurts to lose someone like him, and it hurts a little more when it's Michigan that's getting them. So sad to see that happen, but it is what it is.
Well, and the thing is that the one spot where it really hurts the most, and I've been reading this on all the websites and whatnot. It hurts not only because he's a good player, but because we have such a thin depth at safety. I mean, I think we only have three returning veterans with experience at the safety position. I've heard rumors that they're going to move Clarence Lewis to safety, which I think he already has announced that he is full-time safety. But it's like, you need the depth. It's not quite there yet. I mean, we have two incoming guys that also play safety, but I don't know. I mean, Ryan made some interesting points that he'd rather lose a safety than say a quarterback recruit. But and he made some good points. He really made some good points. Like your main plays are going to be made by your quarterback in his example anyway, more than what a safety would make. So what's your take on that?
I mean, they're both two tough positions to play. I think. I mean, these days it seems like the quarterback makes or breaks your team. So I see what he's going for there. So yeah, I mean it's rough to lose someone in that thin of a position for Notre Dame, but I mean, there's not much else you can say.
Well, and the thing is, with the younger guys that we do have coming up at the position, I forget their names. I'm drawing a blank there, but we've seen freshmen step up before. I mean, most recently Benjamin Morrison, a 3-star freshman, and he just became a star his freshman year.
Yeah.
So exactly. I mean, I wouldn't go into panic mode just yet. So
yeah, I mean, you can't go into panic mode because you don't know. And I mean, anything can happen. I mean, we could find some diamond in the rough, or, Benjamin Morrison could take off and then we just slide the next guy in and all that. I mean, you just don't know. So I mean, only time will tell.
Yeah. And, one thing I've said before with these top, 4 or 5-star recruits, and maybe this is just me being, I don't know, I guess sour grapes for lack of a better term, or just trying to make an excuse. I don't know what the right term would be, but you never know. A lot of these guys do flop out. They don't turn out as expected. And so this may not exactly hurt us as much as people think it possibly will.
Right.
So again, that's just a scenario. I'm not trying to be sour or pissed off at the kid. I mean, the kids, Brandon Hillman's got to do what's best for him. And I understand that.
Right.
Notre Dame is not a fit for everybody.
No. Yeah,
So,
I agree.
So I do, even if it's with Michigan, I wish the kid best of luck. I don't have any resentment or hate towards him. It's, it is what it is. And we got to focus on the guys that we do have and the guys that want to be here and play for us. I think that's what it boils down to. So with that said, going on to our general college football news of the week. And we've been talking about this a lot along with everybody else, but college football expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this, I believe, last week. So very interesting, Ben. And I sent you the link before we started filming here. But both of the Arizona schools have come out publicly. I hate it when I can't talk. Damn it. Both the Arizona schools, who the Big 12 does have strong interest in, they have actually come out publicly and have commented on, the Big 12 wanting them and them possibly going to the Big 12. So this is what Arizona State had to say. The Arizona State president, Michael Crow, he said, there's been discussions between everyone everywhere on all things related to where our conference is going and where stuff's going to end up and what's happening. We are committed to the Pac-12. So let's just start with the Sun Devils first. Now, Crow says that, but you're not going to tell me that he doesn't have strong interest in wanting to join the Big 12. You know that if it means more money, they're going to go where the money's at.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course. And I think the rivalry means a tremendous amount to Arizona and Arizona State, unlike what Oklahoma did with Oklahoma State. And I think that wherever the one school is, that's where the other one's going to be. So if Arizona makes the move to the Big 12, it's going to be Arizona State, or if Arizona State stays in the Big 12, then Arizona's going to stay. But yeah, and it's not just Arizona and Arizona State. There's also Utah and Colorado that are in the talks too.
Of course. I'm not trying to just leave them out of the conversation.
And that, I think, might sway a little bit of Arizona and Arizona State, So, we have the potential for some extremely big moves in college football, and not only just in the SEC and Big Ten. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be really, really interesting to see. And then what does the Pac-12 do? Because now, you have Cal, you have, who would that be? Oregon State, you have Stanford, and
did you say Cal?
Yeah, I said Cal. Who else am I missing? Because you're losing UCLA and USC potentially. That's still not official, but potentially.
Yeah, they're going to the Big Ten. That's
if you lose those, you don't have much left.
No,
you really don't. So, do you go after some of the Mountain West teams like Wyoming and Colorado State?
Well, this is what I think is going to happen. I better read it. Actually, you know what? I better read Arizona's quote before we go any further. So Robert Robbins, the president of Arizona, this is what he had to say about it. It's heavily dependent on Pac-12 Commissioner Greg Klavikoff. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I might have butchered that. and his team negotiating a good media deal for us to stay competitive, he said via San Jose Mercury News. He added, I don't think anybody wants to leave. Why would you move for a couple $1 million a year or more? Okay, I'm sorry, that's just silly. That very simply put, for the fact that it should be your objective to make as much money as you can. So that kind of was
I mean, we see pro athletes
silly.
not signing with a team because they're not going to get an extra $5 million or something like that. I mean, to me that's silly too. I mean, that's ridiculous. But
so clearly he's just trying to be nice, is what he's saying towards the Pac-12.
yeah, and I think both of them are. I mean, and they have allegiance. I mean, the Pac-12 has been pretty good to both those schools, so I get it. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens with these two schools.
Well, where the Pac-12 is really screwing up with this is they are not putting together the greatest of TV deals. That's what's really screwing them and all these schools leaving, because schools are going to leave if there's greener pastures that a school can leave for. They're going to take it. Hence USC and UCLA. They're going to go where the money's at. The Big
Right.
Ten had it for them, so they're taking it. And that's what I was going to say before I kind of cut off there to read what Arizona had to say. But yeah, it's very clear that the Big 12 and the Big 10 both want to head west, take schools from there. I mean, the biggest rumors has been the four corner schools to the Big 12. Another big rumor is Washington and Oregon to the Big 10, and who knows with everybody else. I mean,
yeah.
If you want me to make a bold prediction here, I think the Pac-12 is going to disband completely, and the big schools are going to go to the Big 12 and the Big 10 respectively, and everybody else. I mean, I know the ACC wants to get a hold of some of those West Coast schools,
Yeah,
but I think most of everybody left over is probably going to join the Mountain West or something like that.
yeah. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens moving forward.
But I don't know, Ben, do you have any particular things that you would like to see happen? Like is there a certain conference that you'd like to see a certain school from the Pac-12 go to?
No, I mean, I think that if teams move, that makes it more interesting for some potential rivalries to be really ignited. So like if Colorado moves or Colorado stays and like those teams like UCLA and USC move, then it would be interesting to see like Colorado State come in.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting to see Colorado and Colorado State play play in a conference game.
Because I mean now it's not. I mean because they play each other every year. They're good about that. But now it's not just a rivalry game; it's a rivalry game and a conference game. So the stakes are just a little bit higher.
Yeah,
I
see what you're saying.
I mean, it would be because I think that's kind of what's making Utah think about the Big 12, because now you got Brigham Young in there, and yeah, they play each other almost every year, if not every year. And now it's not only is it the Holy War, but it's the Holy War on top of a conference game.
Yeah.
So I mean that makes college football really fun, because I mean that's I think why people just are in awe of like the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry or the Auburn-Alabama rivalry, because it's not just a game where you get bragging rights. It's a game where you get bragging rights and, on a good year, depending on who comes out of that matchup, that's probably the team that's going on to that championship. So, I mean, that's kind of where I think that would be very interesting about like movement.
One thing that I'm looking forward to this college football season, and I think it's the year after this that Texas and Oklahoma move to the SEC.
Yes, 2024.
What I'm looking forward to seeing, excuse me. I hate it when I mispronounce my words. So you have the four new schools that are coming into the Big 12 this year, and Oklahoma and Texas are not leaving yet. So we're going to be seeing all these teams, the new and the ones that are leaving, playing together for one season. So I think we could see some pretty good football in the Big 12 this year. Not that we don't every year. I mean, there's always a few good teams in the Big 12. But what
Yep.
I'm saying is, with these 4 newcomers and the 2 that are about to leave, seeing them play together for one season I think is gonna be pretty fun.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yes.
I mean, it sucks, but even with Texas and Oklahoma leaving, I still think there's a big potential for that conference to get strong again.
Oh,
'Cause
of course.
There was
Of
even a point
course.
because there was a point in time where the Big 12 was where the Pac-12 is now, on the brink of elimination, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
totally
now
agree.
they've been working to
Yeah, it
so
would
they've been
be
building themselves back up.
it will be very, very interesting to see, like I said, what happens, because this is turning into, you know, a potential for some just insane college football. So,
Exactly. So with that said, Ben, from what you texted me earlier, something interesting that you're doing. You have a new Twitter page that you've just started up, and would you like to tell the people about that?
you're funny. Yeah, no, I think I brought back my kind of other Notre Dame page, if you will, with some more other sports mixed in. So,
Okay. Do
you
you
know,
do you want us to promote that?
if you would like.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, post-production editing is a beautiful thing. We'll talk about it afterwards, and all of you will see in the description box below if or if not Ben has made that decision to promote his other Twitter page.
You're funny.
If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. Simple as that.
Yep.
Well, Ben, that's a pretty good show for this week. I mean, unless you have another topic that you want to talk about, I think this is a good place to call it quits for this week.
I got nothing, man.
All right. Well, with that said, just a reminder to everyone, this Thursday night, we're still going to be doing our live show, myself and our buddy Ryan Fravel. But again, it's going to be called Fight of the Irish Live and not the Fighting Irish Power Hour. So Fight of the Irish Live will be live this Thursday night, usually 6 o'clock, maybe a little bit after that, but it will be on Thursday night. So with that said, I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And as we always say, good night, God bless, and go Irish.
Go Irish.